I'm expecting the defense, when we see this motion, he had said months and months ago that they were doing research in different market areas. So I'm expecting that he might be either A, saying we don't want it here or here for whatever reason, but also maybe we want it here or here for whatever reason. But how much say does the defense have? And I know officially it's up to the Supreme Court, but I mean, will they even take into consideration anything that the defense would say on this matter?
Probably not. The court is pretty autonomous in those type of matters. I doubt that the state will have great input or the defense. It's going to be the judge, the chief judge in this area, and in fact the Florida Supreme Court Chief Justice.
Since the Florida Supreme Court kept him out of the bar for so long, do you think they're really going to be interested in what he has to say about whatever he wants?
Regardless of whether or not there were these missteps, even, dare I say, if it were me that was suggesting, I doubt that they would place a great weight on what I wanted, as much as that bruises my ego to say it.
All right. One of the things I understand would also be a deciding factor as far as where to move it, if it in fact gets moved. Not just where the publicity has been less than here, less saturated, I should say, but also that the population makeup is similar. Now, in this case, the defendant is a white female, so that might not be that difficult. Is that right?
It'd be less difficult than if she were a minority. Absolutely. The market for her, and I call her the venue the market, it could be really anywhere in the state of Florida. So it's not going to be difficult to find a venue that has jurors of her peers. It's going to be a venue where there has been less exposure to the citizens of this case than a market where it's been saturated.
And how much of a headache is it? I mean, this case has, I think, 200 some witnesses or close to it up to this point, and there could be more, I suppose. How much of a pain would it be? I don't know if it's going to be a 2-week trial. If there's a, if she's convicted and there's a death penalty phase, then I guess it could be a 3-week trial, at least, depending on how long jury selection takes. So that's a big undertaking to move everybody. Is it possible? Well, do you even have a guess as to how much expense it has? We've always tried to get cost figures
I don't, and here's the reason. And I would say this case is more likely to take a month plus than less than that time. But you have to pay per diem for each of these witnesses. So instead of, and all the witnesses are local, and so instead of just the travel to the courthouse from their business or from their home, plus the appearance fee, you are going to have to pay a greater amount of money for per diem and mileage, not to mention law enforcement and all of those witnesses. The accommodations for the courthouse personnel, the state, and others that are an integral part in any trial. So it is not unreasonable to believe that this will be extra tens of thousands of dollars when all is said and done.
What's it possible? I understand that this has happened in the past, where if they have to go outside of Central Florida to find a jury, that maybe they would bring the jury here, and that would be simpler than in a case like this.
That's really, I think, only a remote possibility. Understand that the courts are very respectful and mindful of the comforts of the jury, and to bring the jury away from their homes and families for an extended period of time, the court would view that as a hardship on someone who's doing their civic and public duty as opposed to moving everyone to that location.
Okay, and even like, I mean, I don't know if they'll be sequestered, and those are decisions that are made down the road, but even if they are sequestered, they wouldn't be sequestered for the whole trial, would they?
It depends on how much publicity the case receives. Now,
So it
what?
might be. So, I mean, is that a better chance then that they would be brought here if they're going to be sequestered
No,
anyway?
no, I think not. That is very, just very, very rare. And besides that, you don't save that much money because you have to put the jurors up in a hotel, and you have to pay for their meals, their transportation, and all of that. And I think that's
12 people as opposed to 20 witnesses plus. I mean, as opposed to 200 witnesses plus.
the court's not going to be as concerned about the cost as they're going to be as concerned about providing a fair trial, and B, the comfort of the jurors who are deciding this case. One of the things is that the court wouldn't want the jurors to feel some pressure in, well, let's get this case decided so we can get back to our lives and our homes. It's going to be disruptive as it is, but it would be terribly disruptive if they were brought here, and you want to avoid even the appearance that let's just get this verdict decided, let's get this sentence imposed so we can get back home to our families.